what I think we're supposed to be getting out of intramurals, like what the purpose of them is to have a structured time for us to kind of get rid of some energy that's pent up maybe from working too hard and blow off some steam a little bit. And I think they designed it like that because they know we're a bunch of type A people who are all about grades and stuff, and so we would just work all the time. Some of us would if they didn't structure it in. And then as far as what I think we are actually getting out of it, I think a lot of cadets have kind of a bad attitude because it's imposed on them. But then once they actually start playing, they have a fun time.
For the spring of 2013, the USAF Athletic Department offers handball, soccer, softball, ultimate frisbee, and volleyball as the complement of sports for the intramural athletic program, the objectives of which are to provide leadership experience by giving cadets the opportunity to supervise, coach, manage, and officiate squadron intramural teams, to provide a positive attitude in each cadet towards physical fitness, sportsmanship, and competitiveness, to familiarize each cadet with the administration of an intramural athletic program, to promote physical fitness in each cadet.
Our research through personal interviews and a cadet-wide survey has indicated that these objectives are not being met.
This semester has seen a significant restructuring of the intramural program to include strict accountability formations, heightened permanent party presence, standardized duration of all game halves, 1 hour minimum contact time, mandated athletic probation and negative Form 10s for excessive unexcused absences or tardiness. Cadets on a Form 18 must still report to intramurals, with the exception of bed rest.
I feel like 80% of people who play intramurals don't care about it. They're just tired of it. They don't like it. And it seems like the people in charge, the officers in charge, their main focus is just forcing us to stay here for an hour, forcing us to report in. So they're just concerned with, like, they've been told we have to be down here for an hour, so that's all they care about. And the cadets, they're just being cynical about it. So whatever good intent there is behind it, intramurals, it doesn't really work the way it's supposed to.
I think it's a waste of time, frankly. Back when they just did like 10-minute halves or whatever, it was a lot better, in my opinion. Like, just get on with your day. Now when they're strictly enforcing these 40-minute games, and like half of the group is playing while the other half just kind of goes off and does whatever for an hour before coming back to play. It's pretty much cuts into your day, and you can't move on with my day until like 6:30.
To garner more cadet feedback about the current state of intramurals, we developed an online 6-question survey and sent it to the entirety of the lower 3 classes, as well as 3 cadet squadrons. The survey asked the respondent to rank each of the 4 intramural objectives on how well they are being implemented on a scale of 1 to 10, with 1 being very poorly and 10 being extremely well. They were also asked to provide their class year and current intramural sport, with the option of leaving any additional comments as they saw fit. Of this polling group, we received 660 responses, with the majority coming from the lower 3 classes as expected. The distribution of respondents per sport was also as expected, with no overwhelming majority or minority. Before we begin, we must explain one important distinction between 2 leadership styles, transactional and transformational leadership. If we consult the 4-range leadership model, we see that transactional leadership, which focuses on the mission, leads to passive compliance, whereas transformational leadership, which focuses on relationships, leads to active and effective commitment, but more on that later. Here are the results for each objective. Remember, 1 means the cadet thought it was implemented very poorly, and 10 means it was implemented extremely well.
These responses indicate a use of transactional leadership by permanent party. This leads to an overuse of management by exception active, which undermines the power of cadet leadership, especially the league sports managers and referees.
As far as leadership goes, I don't think the coaches have that much of a leadership role. Pretty much what they do is they take attendance and they just make sure their team goes down there. But I think it's more of a collaborative environment. Everyone can have a leadership role as far as leading on the field and just everyone just it just promotes a collaborative environment. Everyone works together. As far as leadership goes, that's about it.
As illustrated by these results, the current structure of the intramural athletic program and the athletic department's use of positional and coercive power through athletic probation and negative Form 10s promotes widespread cadet cynicism and negativity.
Physical fitness, no. Sportsmanship, a little bit. I mean, you have some cadets that actually enjoy, intramurals, or at least by the time they get there, the complaining stops because they're busy playing. And some of these teams that are formed, they're formed with your buddies in the squadron. So to that extent, sure, a little bit, but not always. As far as, what was the third item?
Competitiveness?
Competitiveness? Not really. I mean, most cadets that come here, they come here because they have that A-type personality that the military needs. So I don't think intramurals necessarily enhances or takes away from that.
These responses indicate a failure on permanent party to set clear goals, missing the mark on providing inspirational motivation by not offering an optimistic vision of intramurals.
Yes, we become very familiar with it. That moment that you are 1+ second late, then you become very familiar with a lot of the policies of intramurals. I haven't been late myself, but I've seen some of these cadets in part of the late flight where they form up after everyone is, started, and I'd call it hazing. They just get all the late kids, and it's kind of like, look, these are your teammates, they're late.
As illustrated by these results, the athletic department's further failure to provide inspirational motivation does not create a commitment to excel in physical fitness.
Also depends on the sport. Softball, it's more of a sportsmanship and teamwork environment, whereas maybe ultimate frisbee, we're running more. You can try to sprint more often and get more physical fitness out of it. But I think the point of intramurals is more just to develop that sportsmanship and competition and teamwork to have a competitive environment amongst teams. As far as physical fitness goes, I think there's other avenues to improve that.
Inspiration for our implementation plan came from author Dan Pink, who during his April 2010 TED Talk entitled The Surprising Science of Motivation, spelled out what he found to be the 3 factors that led to better performance.
Now, once you do that, it turns out there are 3 factors that the science shows lead to better performance, not to mention personal satisfaction: autonomy, mastery, and purpose.
Autonomy, the urge to direct our own lives. mastery, the desire to get better at something that matters, and purpose, the yearning to do what we do in the service of something larger than ourselves. We took these 3 factors into consideration when we developed our plan.
The current transactional leadership and positional power from the athletic department officers needs to be substituted for full cadet planning, implementation, and execution of the intramural athletic program. The permanent party would still be available to manage sports equipment, facilities, track absences, and to give leadership guidance where needed.
This reduction would increase autonomy amongst cadets and lead to more engagement by giving them the ability to run intramurals as they see fit.
Secondly, clear goals and an optimistic vision of the intramural program needs to be set and disseminated at the beginning of every semester by the cadet intramural staff. Much like any academic class, the intramural program would have its own goals, expectations, and mission statement broadcast to all participants. Feedback on the semester's intramural program from the players would then be sent up through each individual team's coach to be evaluated by cadet intramural staff and the athletic department.
These games would increase motivation for mastery of each cadet's team sport and increase their desire to perform since they would care more about the outcome of said games.
Lastly, in order to promote physical fitness, camaraderie, team motivation, commitment, and image of the cadet wing, we are proposing organizing bi-weekly inter-base or community games. This way, cadet squadrons would still have the opportunity to scrimmage other cadet squadrons, but 1 out of every 4 games will be against a team outside of the cadet wing, either from the local community or another military installation.
Clear and broadcasted goals would give the cadets more of a purpose and make intramurals seem like less of a time waster and more of an opportunity to excel. If we return to the full-range leadership model, we can see that the increase in inspirational motivation through purpose and the increase in intellectual stimulation through autonomy, coupled with an increased desire for mastery, would elevate the leadership of the intramural program from transactional to truly transformational. We expect a shift as dramatic as this would make commitment levels excel through the roof, while giving cadets a true reason to buy into the intramural program, since they can finally see that their input matters. Implementation of our plan could greatly affect the impact that intramurals has in the cadet wing. The current program could transform from something cadets loathe into something they look forward to and want to actively participate in.